Welcome back to another episode of Road to All Out. I'm here today with a very special guest. I'm here with Kyle, aka kconhawks, aka DM Punk 300, and apparently I just forgot, but I remembered again, aka Insane Mark. Kyle, how's it going?
Hey, doing well, Mike. Um, I actually forgot most of those monikers as well. And to the two people, maybe three that do remember me, um, it's glad to be back on.
Dude, I went to your channel a few minutes ago and I was like trying to find like a video from the last time like you made a video like going to an event or whatever. And there's literally nothing on there. And I was trying to find your channel and I did like DM Punk 300. I did Cake on Hawks, but like I couldn't think of it. And then I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you were in Zane Mark for a couple seconds there." And and yeah, no videos, nothing on there. Yeah, so I mean, when was the last you're going? Okay, so first off, you're going to All Out this weekend. You're going to all three shows this weekend. Um, you just kind of backed into tickets, and so when was the last time that you went to a wrestling show that you could remember? I guess.
Oh, geez, 2015, I believe, was the last time I was there, and I think it was probably AAW.
Was it the
Um,
AAW that we went to, or was it after that?
it was the AAW that we went to, the one on like the Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
Remember what like the owner had like just recently passed away, and it was a very
Oh
sad.
yeah.
I think that was the last one that I went to.
Wow. And so you're going from AAW to AEW. So
Yeah.
like, dude, that's crazy because I mean, just thinking about how different wrestling was that many years ago, how different wrestling was like 4 years ago, and to think that in 2015 being the last event that you went to. So like, did you, you know, keep up with like WWE and Ring of Honor and AAW and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, for the most part. So WWE is pretty much non-existent for me. That's probably not a shocker to a lot of people, but basically that is just trash that I won't even waste a second on. But AAW I did follow. It's not as good as it was probably 6 years ago, in my opinion. But just like most people, probably got in the same cycle, just got deep into New Japan. And that was pretty much it. And then Ring of Honor, New Japan, a little AAW, and then in the last couple years, less Ring of Honor, and then the last year, less New Japan, and then it's just probably been AEW is probably like 90% of what I've consumed in the last year.
So when AEW started, you pretty much like jumped on that wagon right away.
Yeah, I mean, I had to check it out to see what all the hype is going to be about, and you could tell like right away it was different. And even if you look at the 2019 stuff versus AEW now, it's completely
Hmm.
different.
Oh,
And
definitely.
yeah, I mean, it's far head and shoulders above anything else right now.
I literally think it's the thing that saved me from like getting out of wrestling because obviously, like you said, WWE is not doing it for anybody, and AEW came along at like the perfect time, and you know, I I don't know what I would be watching if it wasn't for like on the wrestling end if it wasn't for AEW because I don't watch Ring of Honor because all the people I cared about in Ring of Honor went to AEW and or WWE. So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
I mean,
it's literally saving
I'm
it.
in the same boat. AEW or AEW, I'm gonna mix them up quite a bit.
Dude, I still do that. Like, that's the thing. It's like sometimes I'll say AAW when I mean AEW and AEW when I mean AAW. It's literally like, it couldn't have been closer.
Yeah. Well, I have a trivia question for you. Let's see if you
Uh-huh.
can answer this.
All right.
So I opened up the card from the last show that I went to, and I just want to see if you can guess. There's one guy, and then we'll do an asterisk, maybe one girl because she's might be rumored. But there's one guy for sure that was on the last show I was at 6 years ago, and is going to be on the show. Is going to be on All Out Sunday. You know who it is.
Okay. I think for sure the girl has to be Heidi Lovelace, aka Ruby Riott, aka whatever she is now.
That's correct.
Okay, and then the guy has got to be. Man, I'm trying to think. It's got to be a big name on the indies that's like kind of a medium name in AEW. I'm trying to think. I don't know, man. The
Eddie
only thing.
Kingston.
Oh, Eddie Kingston. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's Eddie Kingston was on every AEW show that I went to for the most part, so I don't know why I couldn't think of him. Yeah, that's it's literally so crazy because Eddie Kingston literally, like I said, he was on every show that I went to. He was on the first AAW show I went to, and then when he had that match, the next one with Shane Hollister for the title. Dude, by the way, like, I mean, talk about like a crazy match, like combination that was. You had Eddie Kingston on one side against Shane Hollister, and in his corner Scarlett, who is like a kind of like a big thing in NXT. Not really anymore, but when she came into NXT, she was, a big deal as a manager. But those AAW cards, if you look back at them, some of the shows that we went to, it's like, I don't know, it's just crazy to see. You know what I mean?
What I think I messed up. I think there's gonna be one other. Well, I don't know if he's on the card, but he's
Hold
on.
on.
He's on the promoter.
Let's see. I know I have it saved somewhere.
Oh.
I got the
You want me to
cards
just?
somewhere.
You want me to
Yeah,
tell you?
go ahead. Yeah.
Matt side out. I forgot.
Okay. Oh, dude, remember remember when I when it was him and Johnny Gargano?
That's the
Yeah.
match.
Yeah, okay. And
That's the match.
we were like, everyone was chanting draw, draw, draw because like everyone wanted like both people to win. And then I just hand him my sign and like literally the inside of the sign says tap, and then like that couldn't have been better. That's one of those moments that like couldn't have been better. And I still need Johnny Gargano to sign that. But
that was great because it was Johnny that drew Matt Sydal, right?
yeah.
And then he gave him the picture, and then Matt Sydal looked at it, and flipped it over, and like, tap.
And, and then the match ended with him tapping out, which couldn't have been like planned better, even though it wasn't planned. Oh man, dude. Speaking of like back in those shows for a second, do you remember going into Payback 2014, WWE Payback 2014, live from the Allstate Arena? Do you remember like that day? Because I think about it like all the time.
You mean me and the infamous one?
Well, no, no. I'm saying more like bigger than that. I'm saying the Hawks were in Game 7.
Oh yeah, that was miserable when they lost.
And you had Payback was happening, like pay-per-view we had tickets to. You had Game 7 for the Kings and the Hawks happening down the street in the United Center. And at the same time, everybody thought that CM Punk was going to return to that show.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, and I think also on that show, I think Daniel Bryan, or was that 2015? I don't remember. Maybe no. Didn't he like? I don't know. He had like some promo in the beginning of the show with Stephanie.
Yeah, I think like Brie slapped Stephanie.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, because then I think the Shield had their last match as a team.
Yeah,
I mean the first time.
That turn.
Yeah, and then because that was against Evolution. Like, dude, I remember. I think didn't like. I don't think Paul Heyman came out at that one, but I think Stephanie like made a Punk comment and like said something about CM Punk, like, oh, he's doing this or whatever. And to fast forward, because first off, I remember sitting in the car, like trying to get some air conditioning, and I remember asking you, or maybe you asked me, if you could trade your payback ticket for a ticket to Game 7, would you? And I think for the first time ever, I was like willing to do that. Like I would
Yeah,
100% do that,
yeah, me too. I totally would have.
even though the outcome, but it worked
Oh,
out a year later.
I know this is kind of goes back to AEW rumor wise, but I also think like that payback night, I think that is probably the best one-on-one Bray Wyatt match he's ever had.
Who did he wrestle?
Cena, it was like last man standing, I think.
Really?
I think that was the best one-on-one match he's ever had.
Oh, wasn't it? Didn't the Usos help him or something? John Cena?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah. Man, man, dude, what a weird show. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
and I just pulled up the card. It is. I remember Big E did. Oh, Big E versus Rusev. I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either. I remember there was like I think it was like, I don't even know, Adam Page versus, not Adam Page, um, Adam Rose versus Jack Swagger or Wade Barrett or someone was like on the T-shirt, but the match like never happened. Um, I remember like Paige had the title and she was like she retained it and I popped big for that.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
I
I
don't know.
checked out that Bray Wyatt match because I literally think that's his best match that I can remember.
I'll check that out. I do remember someone jumped off something. I don't remember if that was in the Shield match or what,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
dude, there's a lot of people on that card that don't work there anymore and they work in AEW, which is like
yeah.
crazy to think about.
Ridiculous. It is
But
insane.
recently, you know, Punk came back and
Yeah,
he debuted in AEW. So what did you think about that whole thing and how that went down?
man, that was a wild, wild return. Like it couldn't have been any better. I mean, the United Center, just the whole fact of the way that they sold it. They didn't say anything, but everybody knew, and
Hmm.
that made it perfect, absolutely perfect. Like as soon as he booked the United Center, with that small rumor that he had signed, and they're like, oh, we're gonna book the United Center. Everybody knew at that point. I mean, there was there was no other options, and then it sold out like instantly, and everybody played it off like they never said CM Punk was going to be there, but everybody in the world assumed it, and everyone was right, and it was just absolutely perfect. Like you couldn't have scripted it any better.
It's literally one of those things that for the first time in a long time in wrestling, everything that the fans were building in their minds and hoping for, like they hoped, like everybody hoped for so many things and everything just kept adding up, and for once it felt like we got the payoff to something that we've hoped for, and that kept adding up because in WWE there's so many things that like, oh, this happens, oh, this happened, oh, maybe this will happen, maybe, and then like, they popped a balloon on us at the very top, you know what I mean? And this just happened to all add up, and like you said, like that rumor, it was like that was one of those things where when that rumor was like spreading, it was literally just like a snowball that turned into like a big avalanche because it started really small and then it kept growing and growing. And then once they booked the United Center 2 weeks before they're coming to Chicago anyway, it was like, okay, I mean, like if he doesn't come up now, like that's AEW is gonna not have my business anymore because they literally are building this up, and thank God
Oh,
that Tony Khan is the fan that he is.
if he would have never showed up, every single person in that building would have showed up on the Khan's front yard with pitchforks and fire, and they would
Oh, I was like, at Money in the Bank 2011, there were signs like if Cena wins, we riot. But I don't think that fans would have rioted at Money in the Bank 2011 like they would have if Punk did not show up at the United Center on that Friday Rampage. Like
Yeah.
that was a hostile. Like those were every single person in that building who had a ticket to that show was there for one reason and one reason only, and that was for CM Punk. So yeah, that would have been an actual riot. Like, good God Almighty, if that would have happened, if that wouldn't have happened.
There's only one like debut in a company that I can even, I mean, in my opinion, is on the same level. No, I still think this Punk debut is number one, just based off of the circumstances, I guess, of AEW, the upstart company that everybody's getting behind. The only other one that I can think of is close was Jericho's back in '99, but I mean, just much different. The industry was so much different at that time, but so it's not that close, but it's the only one I could think of.
Also in Chicago.
Yep.
Chicago's just lucky, man. So I don't want to do like a full rundown of the All Out show, but just in general, like what are some matches that you like? You look at the card for All Out and like, what are you like excited for? What pops out at you?
Oh man, that steel cage match. Like, I don't know. I mean, we've seen those dudes on ladders, and they have a little bit more freedom in a ladder match than they do in a steel cage match.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm honestly like really excited to see this because those, I mean, Matt and Nick are both very smart and they know how to get everybody. Um, and then you add in the Lucha Brothers, which Ray Phoenix is. I don't know if there's maybe Kota Ibushi, but there's nobody more athletic in all of wrestling. And Ricochet, but he's just world class. And if you put those four guys in a steel cage match, like I'll even if they did a ladder match, I mean they've done it in the past, but I feel like you can kind of tell what they were gonna do like before it. And there's obviously it's not gonna be exactly what you think, but in like a cage match, I'm not really sure what they're gonna do.
No, I mean, like the ladder match was there 2 years ago in the same building, and that was incredible. And like my only thing with the steel cage match that I'm kind of worried about is, are we going to be able to see everything? Like, is it going to be, how
True.
how is the visibility going to be? Um, I don't know, like, if you're front row, can you see better than the people in the 100 level? If you're in, the 100 level, can you not see certain things that the 200 level people could see? Like, I think that for me, that match, it could be great on TV, but it's going to be like, I'm going in with zero expectations because I don't know what I'm going to be able to see. So, I'm sure it's going to be an awesome match, like, no matter what. But, it all goes down to what are we going to be able to see and how much
Yeah,
of it.
that's a fair point. But I guess aside from that, I mean, obviously Kenny Omega. I mean, it's pretty tough. I mean, the year that he's having,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, pretty excited to see that dude.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people, myself included, wanted Adam Page to have his big moment against Kenny Omega on this show. But obviously, with like the circumstances and whatnot, I mean, I don't know. This is going to be one of those where it's like, I trust Kenny Omega enough to, like, if he's going to have a good match, he's going to have a good match. So I'm not too worried about his side of things. It's just Christian that I'm like, can he still go? And I missed the last match that they had on Rampage a couple weeks ago, but I'm very interested to see how this is going to be. And I feel like with a lot of matches on this show, and you can kind of, I want your response to this as well. I feel like a lot of matches are like, okay, sure, it's not like a blow away card, but I think there's a lot of room. Like if you start out at the very bottom with your expectations going into the show, especially with the matches that they're giving us, I feel like there could be a lot of room for, wow, that was a lot more impressive than I thought it was going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I could totally see that because I mean, there's a few that I don't know, I don't have very high expectations, so I think they
Hmm.
could really over exceed just based off of that. I guess the last one that it's kind of an under the radar match, but I think could be. I'm really looking forward to it. It's probably not one most people are, and it's John Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima, because I just think that's going to be like a 8, 9, 7 minute match, and they're just going to go all out G1 style.
I don't know anything about Kojima, but I know that like I can't even like search his name. I know that the tweets he's been doing, like, he's just tweeting like crazy, and I'm just like, all right, like let's see what this guy can do, especially with Moxley, and I think it's again one of those things where if like I trust Moxley to put on a good match, so if he wants to have a match with this like Kojima guy that I've never heard of before, I I'm down for it. You know what I mean?
Kojima's a legend, and like right now, he's known for loving bread on Twitter.
Dude, the bread man. Shout out to Panarin. Like, like he could be the new bread man. Dude. Sign me up for bread man versus Moxley. Yeah, that's. I at first when I heard the name of he was going to be wrestling Moxley, I was like, I don't know who this is. Like, you know, but the closer we get to it, the closer I'm excited for it. What do you think about? Uh, Honestly, I think like could be like one of the bigger moments of the night. Eddie Kingston versus Miro for the title. I think Eddie might win it.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I'm really, to be honest, I'm not very high on this match. So I'd like to hear. I don't know. I don't think Miro's gonna lose. So you think he has a chance to lose? You think Eddie can win?
I, I with the few people that I've been talking about with this match, we're all thinking that if Eddie Kingston wins the title here and he goes into that Arthur Ashe Stadium show in New York or wherever it is, New Jersey, whatever it is, like, and he just gets a bigger action. Like he's, the champion, like local guy coming in. He's either going to win the title here or he's going to have like a rematch for the title on that show and then win it there. But I think he could win it here and then go into that show as champion. So.
Oh, okay. I'll ask you this question then, just feeding off of that.
Mhm.
How many title changes do you predict could happen? Like legitimately could happen at all out?
I think, including that one, I think one other. I think, like, I'm almost set on the Lucha Bros beating the Young Bucks. Like, I've already kind of put it in my head that like I'm probably gonna go into the show. I'm probably gonna see the Young Bucks lose the titles. Like, as much as I don't want it to happen, I think that the Lucha Bros like unless something crazy like screwy like happens with Andrade and the Lucha Bros, I think that the Lucha Bros are most definitely winning the tag titles. I think even if the Jurassic Express were in this spot, I think that they were going to win the tag titles as well.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just have a feeling that like it's their time, like especially the Lucha Bros.
Yeah, I mean, so if I had to rank him, I'd say the Lucha Bros have the most chance to win. And then I don't know. I guess Eddie would be two. And then I'd put Kenny three, and then Britt would just be the least likeliest to lose. Although I don't think any of those last three are going to lose. Just think she's the least likeliest to lose.
You think that Britt Baker has a least chance of? I feel like Britt Baker has more of a chance to lose the title than Kenny would. I think Kenny Kenny versus Christian, especially after like Christian just beat him technically for the Impact Championship. I think for sure Kenny has like there's no chance in a million years that Kenny Omega loses the title after the show.
You're not wrong, and I'm also, I mean, 0.001 versus
Hmm. Yeah,
0.0001
yeah.
is kind of my thinking. I don't think Miro. I mean, Miro's got more of a chance to lose than those two, but I don't
Hmm.
think Miro, Omega, or Britt are losing. But to me, I think Britt's gonna hold it for a while.
I hope so. I really do. I think that would be big, and I think like I mean, we talked about it earlier with Ruby. What is it, Ruby Soho, or whatever her name is now? Heidi Lovelace, as I thought she was going to go back to.
Yeah,
Probably making her what?
why didn't she?
I don't know, man. I feel like it's one of those things where she seems like the kind of person that she had that era, she had the Ruby Riot era, and now she just wants to move on to a different, like a different thing. Maybe she likes the name Ruby and she wants to keep it. Ruby Lovelace, I don't know, it doesn't sound as good as, it doesn't sound bad.
Yeah,
Um,
that's yeah.
but I don't know, maybe, just one of those names that she didn't get to use or something. But I feel like she's going to make her big debut in the Casino Battle Royal thing. And she'll be like the last person, like the Joker spot. Um, Make her big debut there. Um,
Yeah.
but other than that, I mean, obviously, and we'll probably wrap up here. Obviously, we got to talk about CM Punk making his big return match against Darby Allin. What are you thinking about this one? Do you think Punk can still go? You think Punk's gonna give us a great match, or do you think he should have stayed at home?
No, I mean, Punk can still go. I mean, if you look back at his last run in WWE, the dude is like more of a psychological worker really than he is like work rate. Now, I don't mean that he's not good worker by any
Hmm.
means, but I just think he's so good at the other aspects that it helps raises up the things that he's not as good at. And I also think that Darby Allin is just an absolute star. I mean, he can do anything. And you put a motivated Punk with Darby Allin, who's always out to prove something. I'd be shocked if this wasn't very good.
Dude, like I literally I think about all the punk matches in WWE, and like some of the best ones like the Taker one, Money in the Bank 2011 with Cena, him versus Bryan a couple times, and I honestly I think that it's going to be so dangerous to think that if someone's thinking, man, I feel like Punk did all that he could in WWE. If you're thinking that, like, you better watch out because, like you just said, with those two sides, going up against each other, and the circumstances, and Punk like is happy, he wants to be there. I mean, dude, I watched that Money in the Bank 2011 match recently. It's 5 stars. It always will be, but if this could be 5 stars or better. I'm just gonna throw that out there. This might throw every single Punk WWE match out of the water times 10. Like it's, I'm so excited for this match, and I know I'm building myself up so much for it, but um, it was always going to be that way whenever Punk came back, and I am very excited for this match.
Yeah, I don't know how you couldn't be. I mean, it's been over 7 years since he's
Yeah.
last wrestled, right?
Yep.
And I don't I don't think there's anybody is I mean, you can help me out here, but is there anybody who doesn't like Darby Allin?
No, dude, and that's the crazy thing because at the same time, like, okay, so of as big as like the crowd is going to be for Punk, I feel like it's going to be such a respectful match. You know what I mean? Because everybody wants Punk to, put on a good match and everything. Um, and then, Darby is just as loved as everybody, or to everybody as Punk is, I feel. So I don't think there's going to be barely any booing in this match. Honestly, it's literally going to be two wrestlers that everybody likes wrestling in a match, and you know, the crowd's going to be like a New Japan crowd. They're going to be respectful and they're going to appreciate the art for what it is.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be loud. I'm sure there'll be majority Punk chants, but I can see some Darby slipping through.
Oh
And
yeah.
Darby, he's just an absolute star. Um, but I do kind of have a hot take with this match.
Hmm.
I think Darby has to win.
Oh, I don't know, man. I feel like I've already built it up to the point where I already expect Punk to win. That I don't know. I get it that I get it that Punk's here to put over the younger talent and create the stars that they have and take them to the next level. But I feel like if Punk just comes in and loses, even if the match is really good, I feel like it would be better the other way around. Like if you have Punk coming in, putting on an awesome match with Darby Allin, and he wins, Darby doesn't look that bad because he just had an awesome match with this guy who literally is the best in the world. And then down the line, when Darby gets his big win, he'll eventually beat Punk again, and it will mean more because he didn't win right away. Like if Darby just beats him right away in Punk's first match back, I feel like it's not going to mean the same as it would if you had Punk win here. And Darby is so good. He's building and building and building up to the point where he's beating everybody. He's putting on good matches. And I feel like if you just cut him off right there and have him beat Punk, who else is there for him to face? So I
Yeah.
think I think Punk has to win here, honestly.
I mean, I might be flying solo on this, but my reasoning is the dude hasn't wrestled in 7.5 years. So it's like he can't just walk in his first match and beat the former TNT champion. Um, and also, he doesn't have to beat him definitively. It can
Mhm.
kind of be like a fluky type roll up type win, and then it just sets up like a 3 match series with these guys. I think it does more for Darby right now to win this first one, and it won't hurt Punk at all because he's been off for almost 8 years.
Yeah.
And if he loses fluky, it's just because he's been off for 8 years.
So in your case, if Darby wins, where does this match go on the show? Does it main event or does it go on before the title?
If Darby wins,
Or
oh,
either way.
I
Either
mean,
way.
I think it has to be the main event. It'd be very tough, I think, for anyone to follow that.
I think so too. But I also think that if you have Punk go on before the world title, I think that Punk wins or loses, either way. Kenny Omega has a match with Christian. Kenny Omega wins. The show ends with the final countdown playing and Brian Danielson making his big AEW debut. I think
True.
if you end the show, okay, here's the thing. If Punk comes out and if Punk's match is before the world title, then I feel like everyone's gonna know that Brian's coming out at the end because you
Mhm.
could still do the thing where the title goes on last. You could still have that be the sacred spot, but you have to have Brian come out.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, flip it around. If Brian's not going to show up, then have Punk go on last.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely the truth. If Danielson is coming in, which I mean, I haven't been up on the rumor mill, but it seems like it's at least a rumor out there.
So as of right now, it's not only a rumor, it's almost a guarantee that he's going to be debuting at All Out.
Oh wow.
It's one of those like Punk guarantee type deals. Like obviously they're not saying anything, but it's like, everyone's saying like it's going to happen at All Out.
Yeah, I mean, if that's really how it is, then you could put, yeah, Darby, Punk, and then if Omega and Christian are the main event, then you have to have Danielson
Mhm.
come out.
Man, what a show this is going to be. Like, I mean, you go from in
Yeah,
your case, not going to show for like 6 years, and you come back, and CM Punk is wrestling for the first time since, and also Bryan Danielson is like returning to wrestling. Like, like, whoa, what a greater show to
yeah.
go to than All Out. Literally
I
the
mean,
hottest ticket.
let's just look at this card for a second. I mean, you have Satoshi Kojima, Japanese legend. You have Chris Jericho, who's one of the greatest wrestlers in the United States ever. You have Sting, who he's not wrestling, but we still have Sting. You have Andrade El Idolo, La Sombra.
Against Pac, by the
Against
way.
Pac. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Pac.
Pac.
You have the greatest tag team of all time, the Young Bucks,
And the Lucha Bros.
and the
Oh,
Lucha Bros.
I
You have
thought you
Kenny
I thought
Omega.
I thought you were gonna
Kenny
swing with me
Omega.
there.
You have Kenny Omega, who might go down as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time when it's all done. You have Britt Baker, who will
But
go down as probably the greatest female.
Kenny Omega against Christian Cage, by the way.
Yeah.
And then okay, like, I'm also you forgot something. By the way, you have Eddie Kingston against Rusev, and then you have Dean Ambrose as
Yeah.
well. Like just throwing that out there.
Just forgot about John Moxley, the guy
Yeah,
who
no big deal.
carried
Oh,
AEW last year through a.
also Big Show.
Oh yeah, and no more BS Paul White.
Yeah, he said no more BS, but he's giving us BS. I don't understand it. What is this, man?
I think the
Yeah.
last time I saw his BS, it was Extreme Rules 2012, and he lost because he's so fat he went through a table.
Oh, but hold on. Don't forget, he lost against Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. He lost to his future boss because he's so fat. He tried to step on a table, and then he looked so confused because he lost because he was so fat.
Dude. Like, this is one of those shows that if you showed yourself this 7 years ago, you literally would have been like, who are half these people,
Yeah.
and why are like what kind of fantasy booking is this? Like, this is the most ridiculous fantasy booking, but I'm so excited that it's happening.
Yeah. I mean, I really talked myself into this card a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Really, I might be one of the few people, but I don't think the Darby CM Punk result is 100% going to Punk.
I don't know, man. I guess we'll have to see. And honestly, like after going and breaking down the card a little bit, I'm more excited than I was before we started this because you know it just looks so weird of a card. But when you really pick apart what's here, I think I'm excited for it, and I think it's gonna be awesome, and I can't wait for it even more now.
Yeah,
So,
me too. A hell of a way to come back.
oh yeah, for sure. Well, you got Dynamite, you got Rampage, and you got All Out, and
Did
you
you
know
know that this Dynamite is the 100th Dynamite?
that's another thing. Like,
And did you notice the 3 year? Now I don't know about this. I think it's the 3 year anniversary of All In.
oh yeah, yeah, September 1st.
So it's the 100th Dynamite and the 3 year anniversary of All In.
That's kind of crazy. Okay, hold on. How did that become? That's a little sus there. I
Right?
don't know. Man. That's a little weird. Kind of weird. Hundred. That's pretty crazy. I don't know.
It all landed. I think that's true. I should have fact checked this before I said it.
No. It definitely is. It definitely is the 100th episode, and it also is September 1st was the anniversary of All In.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's wild.
kind of
I first
weird. I don't know, man. It's
so
like they planned this.
in order of importance, I would say third important is it's the 100th Dynamite. Second most important is it's the 3-year anniversary from All In, and the most important it's my return to
There you go.
professional wrestling.
Your return to professional wrestling the same time CM Punk returned to professional wrestling, at the same time Bryan Danielson returned to professional wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about all these autographs I'm gonna be asked to sign.
Hey man, I mean, there's a VIP meet and greets going on that weekend, but everyone's going to be in line for kconhawks, the guy that sat ringside with Kevin Steen back in the day. So, um, I don't know, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, and if I'm sure I'll try to get some recording or something. I don't know. Do you still do? Are you still doing YouTube videos? Did you retire from that 6, 7 years ago, or whatever?
Yeah, and here's the problem with that is I am too important of a man to have my likelihood on YouTube right
Oh
now.
yeah, really?
Yeah, I
Wow.
mean, just my stature, like,
Well, you'll have to tell me off recording all about this.
yeah.
We're gonna have to like pay big bucks if anyone's filming. We're gonna be like, all right, Kyle, like, do you need us to like sign something or pay somebody? But
Oh, don't worry, I have a couple handlers that take care of that. You'll meet them.
okay, okay. Well, that's why you needed 7 tickets all next to you. But all right, well, Kyle, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to these shows.
Thanks for having me, and to my 3 fans out there, I appreciate you waiting for this, and I hope this is worth it.
Shout out to Britton Harrison.
Shout out to Britain Harris.
All right, I'll see you in the next one.